Alright, so in this video what I'm going to do is teach you how to take this picture here and superimpose it on this picture using some of the same masking techniques that we've discussed during previous instructional sessions. So, the first thing you need to do with both pictures is to come in and go over to your layers panel, which is in the bottom right hand corner of your UI. What you want to do is just double click on the background layer so that you can convert that layer to a regular layer. So I double click, I get a new layer dialog window to come up right here. I'll just click OK. Now you'll see that this layer is a regular layer and it is no longer locked. Let's do the same for this picture. So we'll come in right here, double click on the background layer, new layer dialog window comes up, I'll click OK, and now they're both regular layers. Let's jump back to the skyline picture. So with this picture, I need to knock out the sky. I'm going to come into the toolbar and go 4 tools down from the top, which will give us this tool. This is a quick selection tool, which is brush based. Now I have caps lock turned off on my keyboard. That way I can see a cursor preview of the brush. If you look next to the P keys on your keyboard, you'll find 2 brackets. The left bracket makes your brush smaller. The right bracket makes your brush bigger. And remember, I have caps lock turned off on the keyboard. So it's left bracket, right bracket. And what this tool allows you to do is to come in and select aggregate areas of color. So I'll come in, up here, I'll left click and drag over the sky, just like this, and see if I can get a nice selection right here. Now looking at these marching ants that are part of my marquee, I do select the majority of the sky, but I lose parts of the different buildings and so on as well. Like if you look at this building here, I lose it. I lose pretty much the side and the top of this building. And I lose some other buildings as well. So this tool really isn't the best tool to use. So I'll turn off the selection, or the marquee, by going to select, deselect. So let's select, deselect. There we go. From this point, let's try another tool. We'll go to select, and we'll go to color range. With this tool, we're going to come in and let's go to sample colors is what we want to have selected. I'll turn these check marks off. And if you look down here, you're going to get a preview, a black and white preview that is, of the image and what parts of the image you are selecting and what parts of the image you are not selecting. So that's what this little black and white image is. Here you get 3 eyedroppers. The first one is your initial selection. That one's already pressed down. The second one is add to your sample or your selection. And then the last one is subtract from your sample or selection. And what you do with this tool is you are selecting aggregate areas of color, but you get more control over selecting variations of colors. So I'll make my initial selection. There we go. So you can see I got part of the sky. Now I'll go to the plus eyedropper to add to it. You can use this just like a brush. And I'll go across the sky right here. And drag down a little bit, just like this. And this happens. Big mistake. The reason that I select the buildings as well as the sky, and what's selected is white, what's not selected is black. The reason this happens is because most of these buildings have glass, and glass reflects. What would the glass reflect? The sky. So the same blue you get in the sky, you're getting reflected off some of these glass windows. So in the color range tool, let's come in and let's check localize color clusters right there. And what that does is it allows you to only select areas of color that touch. So if I select the sky, I won't be getting the blue inside the buildings where the windows are. I won't be getting the blue in the water because water reflects light too. So now, once I check this, I can go back and I can click on the plus eyedropper tool and continue to add to my selection just like this. And notice as I'm left clicking and dragging, I'm not touching the edges of these buildings. I'm just coming in and getting the sky right here. There we go. These edges, and what I'm ultimately trying to strive for is what you see right here, which the sky pretty much is white, and then the buildings for the most part are black. But I want a clean distinction like I have here, but there's another slider called fuzziness that can help me achieve it. Remember, if something's white, pretty much it's selected. So if you turn the fuzziness all the way up, pretty much the whole picture gets selected because it's some form of white. It's not dark anywhere. If you turn it all the way down, you get very hard edges, but this is what we want because we want to make our object of interest, which is the buildings or the skyline, black, so it's not selected. We want to make our sky white, so it is. So for this, I'm running with a fuzziness of 8, and everything else I'll leave as is, and then just click OK. What this now gives you is a pretty decent selection around all these buildings. So we could leave it like this, but we do have some errors we need to fix, like here and here. So what I tend to do in this situation is go grab the quick selection tool right there, make the brush size small, and then just remember what it is I have selected is the sky. Let me add to the sky. So you hold down the shift key on any platform to add to a selection. So we'll just hold on shift and brush like this, and I'll come down there. That looks good. And I'll come right about here. That building in back doesn't matter. There we go. And that pretty much gives me a nice selection. Now I'm ready to come in and knock out the sky. What I want you to do is make sure you go to your layers panel, and then your layers selected because it's light gray. Find the button at the bottom right here. It looks like a box with a hole poked in the middle, and click on it. Wait a minute, the wrong thing went away. Let's step backwards. Edit, step backward. The way masking works, which is what we just created, was a mask. It'll only reveal what's inside of your marquee. It'll hide everything else. So if I want my buildings revealed, then that means they should be in the marquee. And if I want my sky hidden, that means it should be outside of the marquee. How do we make that happen? We'll go through the select menu and choose inverse. Now, if you look at your marquee right here, it's marching ants pretty much go around the bottom parts of the picture and go around the buildings, but you don't see them up here in the corners anymore where the sky is located. Now I'll come in and come to the bottom of the layers panel, click on the button that's a box with a hole poked in the middle, and then there we go. So we successfully knocked out the sky. Our next step is to get this guy into the other picture. In order to get him into the other picture, we just come in and we grab our move tool right here, top of the toolbar. Place your cursor somewhere on one of these buildings. Left click and hold, and don't let go. Drag your cursor into the tab right here. That is where this mountain picture is. Still don't let go of your left mouse button. And now drag your cursor in here. And you may get this window that comes up saying you're going to convert color space to something. Just click OK. There we go. So there's our skyline right there. And I'll position it here. But the next thing that I need to do is I need to resize the skyline so it goes from edge to edge. So maybe I'll move it right about here. Here's what we're going to do. This is the new layer right here. If you look in your layers panel that we just brought in. Make sure it's highlighted in light gray so it's active. And that layer contains the skyline. We'll go to Edit, and we'll go to Free Transform. And now I'll grab a corner and just drag like this. That wasn't a good idea. Actually, we'll hit Command Z or Control Z to go back a step. And what I need to do is hold down Shift when I drag a corner. And that way I don't distort the proportions of these buildings. So I'll come in and do this. There we go. And let's commit to the transformation by coming up top and clicking on the check mark. The last thing I need to do is I just need to come in right here and I want to make a marquee selection. So I'll go get my lasso tool right here. Actually, grab the rectangular marquee tool. Take the rectangular marquee tool right here and make a selection about yay size, just like this. And now what I want to do, once I make this selection, and this is on the skyline layer, I want to go right back to Edit, Free Transform. And And let's see if we can extend this. And we cannot. The reason we can't, because we already have a mask on this guy. So let's come in and just work with what we have. Click on this black and white image thumbnail right here. Where my mouse is oscillating right here. Right there. And when you click on it, look at the brackets around the corners of the black and white thumbnail. They'll let you know you're acting on it. And the last thing I want you to do is go get your paintbrush. Right there. Hotkey for the paintbrush is B on the keyboard. And I want you to right click on your composition with the right mouse button. Choose a soft brush. If you don't see your brushes listed like mine, when you right click and the pop-up brush panel comes out, just come right here to the gear and just choose large list. We'll choose soft round, hit return on the keyboard to close the window. And then up top in the control bar, just make sure your opacity is set to 80%, your flow is set to 60%, and then right here, you turn on the airbrush. I'll make my brush a little bit bigger, and make sure that your top chip right here at the bottom of your toolbar, which is your foreground color, is black, because black hides with masks. And then we just come in and we just do maybe a little bit of this. Just get rid of those edges right there. Take your time. And the reason we have a low opacity and a low flow is so we can get rid of those edges and no one's the wiser about how we did this. And actually it makes it look like we have some fog right there. So that's kind of serendipitous. And that's it. That is how you can come in and use masking to integrate two pictures.